Welcome to Talk to SATV, sponsored by Grand Palace Hotel and Resort, where we dive into the deep discussions of most pressing global and national issues. Today, our guest is Mr. Samsul Alam Panto, who is a corporate idol and icon in Bangladesh. Right now, he is serving as Managing Director of Grand Palace Hotel and Resort and Director as in SA Poribohon Private Limited. We have seen what young entrepreneurs could do if they have given ample opportunities. Our latest investment summit is a prime example of that endeavor. Today, we will try to explore what our young business icons think about our economy and politics, be it national and international. What's the suggestion and about how we would meander through these difficult times and how they suggest that we should take initiatives to reform our economies, to reform our policies. Mr. Alam, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on my show. Well, today, we all know the young people like you who are educated in abroad and they could have settled down over there. They could have served that country. They have contributed to that economy. Despite knowing the conundrums that this country is facing, you get back to this country to serve this country, to grow and to work for the economy. So was it always on the plate or is it a sudden shift? You're managing both hospitality and logistics. And could you share what motivates you to come back? Could enlighten us through your journey.
Professor Shibli, thank you so much for having me on this show. Very lovely astute questions from your end. Actually, during 2010, I went to Singapore to pursue my higher education and I finished my high schooling over there. Afterwards, I moved to Malaysia and I finished my undergrad. So what I actually understand, being a proud citizen of Bangladesh, it was always on the cards that I would one day come back and contribute in any measures possible towards my country. That kind of love and respect toward my nation I have. Aside from that, it was quite a challenge when I was situated in Singapore, being a very focused community there, not so many Bengalis in school. And it was always a challenge to mix with other races, other people from different countries. The exposure has given me an opportunity to broaden my aspects through this globalized world. Later, during the coronavirus, I came back and I focused on my family's businesses. And you've mentioned Grand Palace Hotel. It started its journey in 2016. And then we started our journey in Rangpur as our first hotel. And then in 2020, we had our first hotel, and then the second hotel in Sylhet. So I've been working in this industry more or less 5 years plus. And what I understand, it's very volatile. It's very based on the people of the country. Not all the seasons are the same. There are ups and downs in business, as per any businesses. And what I learned that in order to succeed, we must make certain sacrifices so that the company may excel in the future.
Well, our hospitality sector is not improved enough, to be honest. To have that vision and to settle a hotel in Rangpur, that was a very important decision that you took, your company took, and it has paid off eventually. So how do you think, did you feel any difficulties while taking the decision, because it is on the northest part of the country? Nobody was brave enough to establish a hotel over there. So when you were establishing a hotel over there, and a quality hotel, a 5-star hotel, you guys were nervous? Like nobody has given a thought to establish a hotel on the northest part of the country. So it was quite a brave measure that you have taken.
Yes. Rangpur itself is a very scenic place of Bangladesh. Is located in North Bengal. And we understood that the people of Rangpur required a 5-star facilitated hotel. Later onwards, we invested heavily in the hotel franchise there. And what we understood was that it could serve the people better. It became a tourist hotspot and it's not so far from Dhaka. The government then also initiated nice roads, better roads, pothole-free roads, so that it promotes tourism. But yeah, right now Rangpur is actually doing better than most tourist hotspots, and as the prime hotelier there are other hotels as well, but we are doing better, alhamdulillah.
And you had a remarkable role on that.
Yes, I actually do look after the staffing, the hiring processes, and of course, it would be my supreme duty to make sure the proper people or the proper personnel are aligned to the proper departments. That's what I do all the time. And yeah, so far so forth, this is how it's been.
So how do you balance between the two different industries, like hospitality and logistics, especially in such a dynamic and often unpredictable market? Because is there any perceptible changes that you have seen during these years?
Foremost, during the last 8 months post the July-August revolution, my condolences to the affected families. We have seen that Bangladesh has reached a different peak amongst the Western nations, around all of our neighbors as well. We have, finally I would say, we have a leader who is making sure of the image Bangladesh has in all the global foreign affairs. So especially Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, such a leader I have not seen in my lifetime yet. And I am pretty sure that he has it in his mind that Bangladesh should be open to tourism. As you mentioned the investment summit earlier, and what I see is that the investment summit has a direct correlation with how well tourism is being operated in the country. So I would say that it's given only 8 months. I am pretty sure that this should be better in the upcoming future. We have other developments in other places, not only just Rangpur. We have Cox's Bazar, which is the local Bali, if you would like to call it. It's bustling. It is the longest stretch of a natural beach in the whole world. And we should actually hold it like it's an asset of Bangladesh, given the territorial disputes in that region. And talking about the investment summit, the chairman of the Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, he left his life in Singapore. I could directly correlate with that. We both grew up with cultural values that the Singaporeans hold very dear. And I've seen that during his presentation, he has tried numerous times to compare us as a nation to emerging or already developed nations like Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. Once we think of those countries, we automatically think how they have a beautiful tourism infrastructure already built. Yes, it can be implemented in Bangladesh. It requires reform, and not just with reform, you'll have to see it through. See that all the laws that you may be changing or laws that you may be implementing come into an effect where the society at the end of the day benefits. Such an environment must be ensured in order to gain future investment in any sector, not just tourism.
Economists are suggesting about diversified economy. So hospitality could be another tool that Bangladesh government could look at or look up to. They have established the tourist police as well. But do you think that the human resources, those are working in the sector, they're skilled enough to aid you on this sector?
Our culture is very diversified. We are lots of cultures that mix into the Bangladesh culture as well. So most of the tourists, or the language that is more accepted worldwide, is English, as we are speaking today. So the creation of Bangladesh Tourist Police, they are actually a very important factor to our industry. They must ensure the proper standards that are being maintained at various levels of hotels. They must also ensure security and safety for tourists. And thank you for asking such a beautiful question. In recent events, we have seen an incident happening in Kashmir, in the Pahalgam terrorist attack, if you would say. So in my presence, it would be like tourism versus terror.
True.
The terror industrial complex should be defeated in a place like Kashmir in order to promote tourism. Of course, Kashmir is outside of Bangladesh, and there are disputes over there. And I wish that to be solved so that tourism can be flourished in the geopolitical arena. That's about it.
Well, and the tourists should feel secure. That's pretty important for this industry. Well, let's move to the Trump tariff policies, because all the businessmen are now thinking about it. President Hussein Mohammad Ershad, he basically visited United States back in 1984, when President Ronald Reagan was the president. And back then he brought GSP for us, Generalized System of Preference. And it went on up to 2004, and it's been withdrawn on 2004. And RMG sector has flourished. But yet we have survived the withdrawal of GSP. Right now there is an impose of tax of 37% on Bangladesh RMG products. Compared with the Vietnam and China has like almost 145% tariff, but compared it with India, it has much lower tariff, that is 26%. So we were the number third exporters of RMG products in USA. So Donald Trump's tariff policies during his presidency significantly reshaping the global business or global trade dynamics. So from Bangladeshi corporate perspective, as a young corporate icon, do you assess the long-term impact of those tariffs, and particularly on emerging economies like Bangladesh? Is it inextricably linked to the development of the country?
Thank you. President re-elect Donald Trump, the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, he issued a reciprocal tariff, and it affected many economies of the globe. In the case of Bangladesh, and our current administration has appealed for a 90-day halt to such tariff policy. But I believe that in the scale of global economics, Donald Trump is using a very old method out of his book. Mind you that he took the charge of the Oval Office from being an established businessman. And he is using some businessman tactics to run his global or his policies in the Oval Office. But however, I mean, we can see that Bangladesh has issued for a 90-day pause. Many other economies have issued this very similar pause as well. However, in the case of China, China has been the global manufacturing giant.
True.
And this is the type of relationship that we all smaller countries must suffer. Since they're producing almost every item in the household, almost every item in any kind of field, they have a superior advantage. That knowledge behind producing everything, your first goal would be to produce everything that you can, or you manufacture anything that you can. Afterwards, it would be more of a, now that I know how to manufacture, how am I going to hold my economy, and how is it going to affect my people? That's the Chinese way to think about it. However, the 145% reciprocal tariff seems like a precursor to a very bad argument, or say precursor to a Cold War, if you would like to say. But Donald Trump, I don't know what's in his game book or what's in his war plan, I'm not sure. But even his neighbors, Canada, Mexico, and even his neighbors have had an allergic type of reaction to his policies. Definitely, in the case of Bangladesh, we are probably one of the higher countries that produce ready-made garments, RMG, and what we understand that there's a big market for it over here in Bangladesh. There are certain disputes with labor laws, certain labors. We do have skilled labor set that we didn't seem to have more than 20, 30 years ago. Of course, there is heritage of Bangladesh reowning to the muslin fabric. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of pride for Bangladesh to be able to cater to the whole world when it comes to garments, mm-hmm. And I understand that the current administration should take reform in order to protect this industry, so that we are not sold short to any global manufacturing company or global manufacturing giant. Mm-hmm. There has been numerous talk on sweatshops in South Asia making Nike shoes, mm-hmm. Making Gucci or Prada elements. And recently we also figured out China's exposure. China exposed openly the luxury goods market. And I believe that this is just a precursor to a more retaliatory measure between the different countries. Of course, in the case of Bangladesh, that would be to avoid trouble with any nation and to only excel in own development, building a nation that thinks about the nation first. We have to think about what's inside our borders first, in order to be able to understand what's outside of our borders.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to go on a break on Talk to SATV, sponsored by Grand Palace Hotel and Resort. Do come back after the break. Welcome to Talk to SATV, sponsored by Grand Palace Hotel and Resort. Before the break, we were discussing about the dynamics of tariff for a country like Bangladesh. Mr. Pantho, why did we face such a harsh tariff? After the post-revolution government is late in negotiating with Mr. Donald Trump, do you think that, or is it the failure of the government, or is it the fiasco of the government that we are facing 37% tariff, or is it the reciprocatory tariff is for all? That right. We do know. But why we get 37% whereas India get 26%. But we are in a bit advantageous position because other countries like China, Vietnam, they got more tariffs than us. So
Right.
why did that happen? Because in Trump's dictionary, either you are his friends or enemy. There's nothing in between.
Right.
So do we react it a bit late? Do the post-revolution government reacted a bit late in ingratiating with the Trump administration, with the new administration? What do you think?
Thank you, Professor Shibli. President Donald Trump, afterwards, as I said before, there is not like a very similar stage in where every country has to give like a mandatory amount of reciprocal tariff or whatever it is. However, there is lots of disparity, even along with my neighbors, as you said. At the moment, there's 145% tariff for China. And recently we've opened up an investment summit. So our country is now looking forward, is one of those green havens for major manufacturers who would have to face a lot of cost if they had their manufacturing plant in China. I'm a firm believer, and if they were to move to Bangladesh, we do have that means and necessary practices in order to host and in order to manufacture. We've seen it in the RMG industry. I'm pretty sure Bangladesh could set a ground in creating the next generation of electric cars, for example. And not just that, in Asia, South Asia, Donald Trump's policies are affecting not just our economy, it's affecting almost every global player there is. And I would reinforce that Bangladesh has a prime opportunity in the coming days, coming future. And there would be no shortcomings of the delay or in the time that Bangladesh current government or the current administration, talking with Donald Trump's administration, I wouldn't say it's a delay, more that Bangladesh should process this in a way where we become tax-free for American products so that American products may become tax-free for us. It's a diplomatic card we can play. I'm pretty sure already there's been a 90-day pause to this tariff for our country, as I said before. However, this is, for us, it's just a matter of foreign diplomacy. However, for major nations like China, it's a big warning to them and how they will process the next quarter or this quarter. And I'm sure that it should be solved using diplomacy. Like in the old book, the countries would talk to other countries in order to sell out or in order to settle disputes. And America being a big nation, they are the global hub for weapons, for technology. The major companies are from that place. However, the manufacturing plants of top brands are all situated in China. So it's a very fragile infrastructure that they're working on. And I wouldn't want it to break out into an all-out war. Right? It would affect every nation, not just Bangladesh. And thank you for your question.
Well, in your view, did the US-China trade war open new opportunities for Bangladesh in sectors like logistics and hospitality?
If tourism and logistics are concerned, we are a very small nation compared to other big nations. Our land mass is not so big compared to other nations. When we think about tourism in Asia, Asia is quite a big neighborhood. In our neighborhood, we have tourist places such as Bangkok in Thailand. We have Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. We've got Singapore. We have Tokyo, Japan. All of these places have one thing in common. They are all open for tourism. There is not a regional conflict between these countries that any tourist would feel unsafe to travel to those places. There is a beachfront in Indonesia's Bali, which is more or less similar to Bangladesh's Cox's Bazar. And in the recent news, I don't know if you have seen that Cox's Bazar is planning to have international flights in and out of the region to other big international places. So that's a very positive thing for us. The local hotels that are there in Cox's Bazar, including the international chains that are there, they'd be benefited by being able to accommodate tourists from neighboring countries, which so forth we've seen not as much. Cox's Bazar actually is doing a seasonal business every summer, maybe every winter, once, twice a year, during the major holiday seasons after Eid. It's a national holiday to us Bengalis. And I understand that Cox's Bazar should be transformed. It could actually serve as a capital city as well. It's not only that the local administration there would improve, the connectivity amongst other regions in the area would also improve. And think about Dhaka. It's sometimes during this heat wave, we see that it becomes almost barely unlivable.
True.
And there should be somewhere down the line to decentralize Dhaka. Somewhere down the line, I'm not saying that this government currently, the interim government, should take heed to this request or to this issue, but any government that would be addressing the issue of decentralizing Dhaka and relieving the stress that Dhaka holds throughout all the other districts of Bangladesh, relieving that, I think, would be beneficial towards all the other economies, all the other cities that are established in Bangladesh.
Well, do you think the protectionist policies, future protectionist policies from the large economies like US and European Union does poses a threat for Bangladesh? Because in the 21st century, why Bangladesh would be producers of T-shirts only? Or makers of the T-shirts only? Because they have to broaden their export industry.
Right.
So in that sphere, logistics as well as hospitality plays a very important role. So what are other sectors that Bangladesh could focus on? You mentioned about the cars and vehicles already. Right. So what are other sectors that Bangladesh could give importance in terms of this difficult time to broaden the horizon of their production industry?
Bangladesh is a country known for its jute. The raw processed material is also known for rubber. It's also known for, there are certain trees in Sylhet, for the tea plantations, not just that. They grow this, the oud tree. It's made for certain perfumes. There are multiple industries in Bangladesh, and it'll take all day for me to analyze all of those.
We're the sheep breakers. We're the largest sheep breakers.
Sheep breakers in the entire world.
In the entire world.
We have a massive sheep breaking yard. And of course, it comes with its benefits and disadvantages. However, yes, Bangladesh could, as our professor, Dr. Mohammad Yunus said, we are the guardians of the ocean in this part of the world.
True.
And based on that, we should actually focus on how much of naval conquest we can have in the Bay of Bengal. Notice that it's called the Bay of Bengal, and Bengal is what we are known for in the whole world. Of course, that our naval strength should be improved in the upcoming administrations as well. But yes, there are multiple industries in Bangladesh that we can focus on. Tourism, top, because I work in that industry, not just that. We have, RMG is one of those, but you have break-off leather products, you have break-off in other industries such as the agro industry. We also have a feed manufacturing plant. And Bangladesh is known for harvesting many multiple types of seeds. And in order to protect this industry, we must ensure that food scarcity is also met. And yeah, that's about it. There's many industries, but we have to understand which one benefits the people more than the ones that don't or are marginalized.
Recently, China's luxury product industry faced serious exposure related to authenticity, ethical practices, and market manipulation. How do you think such revelations affect global consumer trust and branding overall?
In order to be an ethical businessman, I think we should never deceive the end consumer or the end customer. China has exposed that a Birkin bag that they create, it costs them $1,400. Still in the reach of some Bengali households, still in the reach. However, that same Birkin bag, when it ends up at the luxury retail store, it's in the couple of $1,000s. So this disparity, yes, it sets off a luxury brand in its own right. However, not many consumers it will attract, to my understanding. Every business should have a policy stating that we are solving a social problem, and that should be the spine of any company that targets a social problem and eliminates it for the convenience of the people.
So on that point, do you see potential for Bangladesh, especially in sectors like boutiques, niche products and hospitality, to create a new wave of trusted premium brands internationally?
In many instances, when I was abroad, I would go for retail shopping, and I felt very proud when I saw the label "Made in Bangladesh."
Yes, many of us do that.
Yeah, I myself had to pay that premium amount in order to get something that was made in my country.
True.
It opens up a new corridor for us to think differently. Like you cannot. There was once upon a time when Western communities, when they heard the name Bangladesh, or in certain instances of my life, they used to frown upon it. But I believe in the last 8 months, the image of Bangladesh, as I said before, has been reinforced. And that label, made in Bangladesh, it's very powerful, emotional for the people, that the laborers that put in the hard hours, non-stop. That's reflected in the Made in Bangladesh label. So I would say that in order to protect our industries, we should be reinforcing and seeking help from the administration currently, and also in the future administrations, so that all the markets and all the important industries that we have are protected from foreign tampering or any kind of regional issues.
So could Bangladesh emerging brands could learn something from the pitfalls of China's luxury sector regarding transparency, quality control and customer loyalty? Could they learn from that, China's experience?
In Bangladesh, we are known for RMG manufacturing. I'm not quite sure how, but we are sure that in the future we could build electric cars. If that technology, we could build that maybe at a lower cost, maybe it could be better. It's all a matter of time before we know how much talent our Bangladeshi people have. And we're slowly starting to understand that the Generation Z is very capable. It would be very wrong for me and wrong for you as well to undermine them at any given level.
True.
They have proved us in their own capacities that Bangladesh should thrive in the future. And that's how this July-August revolution came about.
Well, despite all these opportunities, despite all these possibilities, what are the major challenges in foreign investment in Bangladesh? The location of Bangladesh is like having a middle square in the chessboard. So it's located in a so proper place, and it's gateway to the Seven Sisters,
right.
And it has bigger neighbors like India and China. So opportunities are ample. So what are the major hindrances? What are the of getting foreign investment in Bangladesh, according to you?
The icing of the cake would be the investment summit that we had. However, you need to look at the intrinsic factors as well, such as our image. We have to be very careful about our image in order to bring in the expected investment we can have. In the region, there are bigger economies. There's Saudi Arabia, there's the United Arab Emirates. They are quite good on their own. Their economy is quite bigger than ours. And they could choose to invest for their end of the bargain in Bangladesh. I came to know about online that a company from Bangladesh, a startup company named ShopUp, they were teaming up with another fintech company from the UAE, if I'm not wrong. That is actually, it reinforces our image once again that no, there are companies in Bangladesh that can make ties with other companies abroad, and it should be an eye-opener for other investment or investors. They would be happily ready to invest in Bangladesh. Of course, the governance here should be readily available and stating that in order to make a return on invest, we should protect any asset that there are foreign investments here. We have to protect this nation in order to keep these foreign investments running. At the end of the day, we must make sure that the Bengali people are not defeated, that the Bengali people are winning from any kind of investment that's coming from abroad. Of course, investment could mean a greenfield acquisition. Any local company could become a part of a global company by means of acquisition. So we must be very careful in what kind of companies and who we are trying to attract. Nonetheless, Bangladesh is on the Tropic of Cancer, if I'm not wrong. It's a very humid country. We're currently waiting for the massive rainfall. Every year there's 2 cyclones or more. So we are we have the 4 seasons, and I'm pretty sure that Bangladesh would be avid for any kind of manufacturing in the future. We have a lot of land, still untouched.
Cheap labors,
and not just because it's cheap labor. What would happen eventually is when you attract too much manufacturing, your labor won't remain cheap.
True.
I think that's the kind of conundrum China is facing right now. True. They have to balance out their labor. For over the years, they've been manufacturing in the field of technology, manufacturing in the field of RMG. So they are quite ahead from, if you know, I'm not sure if you know, Toyota, a car giant.
True.
Also Mercedes, a car giant. They are both from 2 different countries. One's from Germany and one is from Japan. They both fought with the electric vehicle module. They both fought in the market over green emissions, how to create green cars to avoid emissions. And that has been a prime concern, even in various agreements across the world, the Paris Accords, in order to cater to environmental needs. And they usually say that we need to keep some of the oxygen and the environment safe for future generations. So what we've seen in the car industry is that they, especially China, they move towards the development technology in hybrid cars, in electric cars. And that has posed a very massive challenge for companies like Mercedes, who have been operating more than 100 years. True. So what China has effectively done is it's created a better mean of achieving the same efficiency with hindrance of the environment.
True.
And that's, as I said before, any company, any kind of ruling should always help the people in order to success in the future, be successful in the future, be efficient in the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to go on a break. We were discussing about the impediments that we do have for investment in Bangladesh, and also how our new technologies could come up to expedite or expand our export opportunities, or broaden the horizons of our export. Do come back after the break. We will discuss a lot more. Welcome to Talk to SATV, sponsored by Grand Palace Hotel and Resort. Well, Mr. Pantho, my question is, how do you see the digitalization of Bangladesh's financial sector?
Thank you once again. As I said before, we must look at the societal benefits in any industry, in any case. The digitalization of the financial sector in Bangladesh, we have a lot of banks. They are offering internet banking facilities in Bangladesh. It has grown over the years. However, in the recent times, I've been hearing, since I do work in the news field, I understood that Bangladesh may be expecting the worldwide giant known as PayPal. PayPal has advantages in international payments, and if it were to be implemented in Bangladesh, we could be benefiting from global e-commerce giants like Amazon in order to pay them, in order to bring our goods here. And in general, PayPal has worked in various countries, and since that we've already established link with Starlink, company that provides satellite internet. And since we're walking towards that kind of infrastructure, implementation of PayPal should be foremost, and I'm pretty sure that in the coming weeks it should be instated into Bangladesh community.
Thank you. You represent a new generation of Bangladeshi business icons.
Yes.
And how important is it for young corporate icons to focus on ethical business practices and social responsibility? And what do you think about the corporate social responsibility regimes in Bangladesh?
Every company should target people who are of need. They must be removing a societal need in order to become more efficient. I can give you an example. A bottled water factory. How can they are selling water in a bottle. After the consume of this bottle may be ending up in landfills, maybe ending up in certain lakes and rivers. And how could they serve socially? If you would think of it as CSR, corporate social responsibility, they could promote that, okay, if there is such a place, there is pollution in such a lake or a river nearby, where is a landfill, they could take it as their initiative in order to clean it up, or in order to purify the system. They'd be more avidly placed, or they would have the knowledge in order for water purification. So that is just one example. There are many other examples as well. How, if I'm involved in such an industry, how it can affect or how it can promote societal welfare. And every company in Bangladesh and in the global economic hemisphere, they should understand that all the companies should come together just to unite each and every department in order to remove a communal problem, as I've been saying throughout this whole show. And the young generations, as you said, they should focus on how they can develop their own interpersonal skills in order to be relevant in the international market. Of course, in my analogy, it would be honesty is the best policy. There are certain things that even I follow at the workplace. I try to be soft, be gentle in anything I'm saying, even if it meant to be with prejudice. Even if I were to talk to someone in a different tone, I would understand that my tone would be the defining factor for the result of that day if I were to deal with anyone.
So wonderful.
Yeah, so definitely I would, respect given is respect taken. So that's how I work.
So what message would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs and the business students in Bangladesh about navigating today's complex global business environment?
As the world has moved towards a more globalized world, I would suggest those who are still pursuing their higher education to not only be specialized in one field, but to learn other fields in their spare time. I would most likely, I do this in my own personal time. I tend to research amongst other ideas, research in my free time as well. Whenever I'm home, I'm scrolling through whatever has happened today, globally, not just locally, and I try to understand where this globe is heading out towards in the future. So it's quite important that one must research and understand on their own before being able to help those who don't understand or those who lack those required items in order for them to research. So yeah, it would be my message to the young youth of the country would be to definitely develop skills and skill sets that are outside of their field and going to do something or proceeding to do something that is not natural to them. Being more proactive is definitely comes along with this issue, of course.
So finally, where do you see Grand Palace Hotel and SATV Pohon in the next decade?
Both the companies are grand in their own regard. Bangladesh is now a more connected nation, and in the logistics field, I think that we have been doing the premier logistics company in Bangladesh, next day delivery, and these are the things that I'm pretty sure we can develop more in the future as the 5 districts of Bangladesh are getting more connected. And as for Grand Palace Hotel, we have planned to open up the hospitality industry, not just in Rangpur, Sylhet, and recently in Dhaka, but also in other emerging cities of Bangladesh, so that there could be a protective playing field in Bangladesh amongst all the hotel industry. And I would only want success for my company, and I would thank my managing director, Mr. Saudin Ahmed, in order to showing us the light in the future years. I wish him health, and I thank you for hosting me in this show.
Thank you. Mr. Rakin, before we conclude,
Yes.
Is there any personal philosophy or motto that guides you towards your ups and downs of life? Or is there any personal philosophy that you do possess that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Thank you. As a last note, I would say that certain points in your life you will feel that you are very demotivated, thrown off, overworked, burnt. But that is the very aspect where you have to find the courage in yourself to come back to your core strengths. And I would say I personally believe this as well. I've mentioned before, there is no such thing higher than being honest. And a man, especially a gentleman, as the word says, one must be gentle and one must be honest in order to conduct their operation or their business. And that should play the major ethic in order to be open, people-friendly. Of course, that should play a major role.
Do you find any disparities in society right now? Like, for example, there are a lot of discussions about social reforms, not about political reforms, the social reforms about morality,
Right.
or even the small changes that we could bring to make a more safer environment. Things like this rickshaw puller movement or
Right.
something that you noticed, and you'd like to spread a message, or you'd like to throw a message to the young.
A quite burning issue you just mentioned, rickshaws and auto rickshaws in general. Convenience over fatalities. It might be convenient in order to ride an auto rickshaw one place to another. However, there is a rising number of fatalities using such a vehicle. I wouldn't want to anger any vested group or any vested community. I'm trying to respect both the communities. There were those who are auto rickshaws, those who are operating auto rickshaws. I want to respect them as well. But however, they must understand that Dhaka city in general is very overworked. It's overpopulated. It is there must be some kind of social reform in order to address these issues. We see that the work week starts from Sunday to Thursday. And there's 2 days of the weekend. However, the auto rickshaw problem not just affects Dhaka, it affects the entire Bangladesh. And thank you for asking me. I would want that a permanent solution be implemented in order to reduce the fatalities that auto rickshaws bring to the society. And in generalizing, people think of it as a menace. So if there could be insurity of road safety, I'm pretty sure auto rickshaws would have their part on the road as well. However, we should definitely get them removed from the highways. Most of the brutal accidents that we see routed from the auto rickshaw are happening on the highways more than the city. So definitely the current administration should be proactive in order to resolve this issue.
So when you attract the foreigners into the country, then you also have to ensure the security in the roads. You have to ensure the security in the society as well. Mr. Samsul Alam, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's an absolute pleasure.
It was lovely talking to you as well.
Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. It was an intriguing discussion. His stalwart mindset depicted how today's icon operate, as well as their vision and mission. He has prescribed the panacea that how we could reinvigorate the financial sector to attract the global investment. Had Mr. Alam's innocuous idea about the corporate social responsibilities infused in financial policy, it could have major impact in this dilapidated economy. Showcases what young generations could bring on the table if they have been given enough opportunities. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, to join us in tonight's show. Do come back for the next week. We will be there with another new guest. Until that moment, goodbye. Allah Hafiz.